Okay, so I want to do a quick video on the dump trailer and the truck. So this video is initiated from me almost blowing my finger off. How, you ask? Well, let me tell you something about something. All right, so dump trailers have batteries. The battery is used for the hydraulic pump to lift the dump, hence the dump trailer. When I first purchased this, I would have assumed, or I did assume, that like any other trailer, like an RV, it receives a trickle charge or a charge from the actual vehicle, which is not the case with dump trailers. Dump trailers have their own separate battery for their own pump and do not attach onto the vehicle's electrical system for charging purposes, only for charging purposes. When you hook on your trailer, it has the switch or the plug for the back, and that runs the lights and the trailer brakes and everything like that. That is a completely different electrical system than the pump and the battery that we have here. When I phoned up the trailer company, as soon as they explained it to me, it made complete sense. The wiring that your vehicle has that runs from your battery and your alternator and runs all of the lights and everything like that is very, very thin gauge. If by chance this trailer had a very low charge and you decided to try and, or the battery had a very low charge on the trailer, and if you tried to use the pump to dump out product, then it would take such a stress from the alternator that it would completely fry all the wires, because the wires are very small in the electrical plug. So that brought me to the idea of, well, let's hook up some power. So I did that, and I ran some heavy gauge cable, battery cable. This stuff here, it's like 4/0 maybe, or something like that. 4 gauge, not sure. Anyway, can't remember the gauging. I ran that directly because I was doing it in a pinch for timing, and I ran out of juice up here, and I didn't have a battery charger because I don't have any power up here, or when I'm doing power, it's a little bit involved because of a generator, blah, 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 blah. So I ran a positive cable going from my battery through the truck to a pole on the back of the bumper and in behind the bumper. I just mean a little post there, an insulated post, and then that I used this cable and I wired that up while I was driving around. This was all temporary measures, of course, until I grabbed a breaker and some safety precautions and things like that now, so I'll get into that in a second. So me and my great wisdom, it was always on my list of things to do to put the right safety stuff in, and I didn't. And then, so this year when I grabbed the trailer and I grabbed the machine and I was doing a job and I was unhooking the wing nut on the battery cable, was very tight, so I used a crescent wrench, and I had the crescent wrench in my hand like this, and then it slipped somehow, and the back of the crescent wrench, say it again there, the back of the crescent wrench touched my wedding ring and then touched the side of the trailer. So I'll throw out some pictures where you can see basically arced out this. So immediate zap, and I pulled the crescent wrench away, and then the pain started happening, and I looked down, and on my finger, the wedding ring, it was red, glowing red. It had gotten that hot that quickly. So then I grabbed the wedding ring and I ripped it off and I threw it on the ground, and then I looked down at my finger and it looked like this. key the pictures of my finger. And then throughout the past couple of weeks, I've been dealing with the healing of the finger. So now it's looking pretty good. Still a little bit red, all healed up, which is great. So, lesson learned, I now have a circuit protector here, which is a 60 amp. But what this does is you can just press that, and that is now disconnected. So this is now its own. That it's now its own. When I connect it up, it now joins these two together, which then follows to here, and now I have this instead of using a pole in the back. So this is just a quick connect or a quick disconnect. Try and just comes apart, pulls apart like that. Has a positive cable in there and negative. I'm not hooking up the negative because that is, the negative is basically the ground of the trailer. So that doesn't need to be hooked up, and I can't get this thing back on with one hand. Anyway, so that then again follows through the truck, goes up to the battery where I have another disconnect here. This now disconnected and connected. So whenever I'm doing anything with messing around with wires, I can completely lock out the whole system. Not lock it out, but have it as its own separate system. So I'm going to screw basically the one side of that thing onto the bumper, and I will do that in the near future. And I'll silicone all in behind here to make sure that the water doesn't get in. And that is that. So the next agenda, so the next thing I want to do with this thing is put a remote switch. So I've got this switch runs on a cable, the up and down, and I'm going to try and use one of those remote switches like I used on my winch for my four-wheeler or my ATV. That will be the next project. I'm not sure if I'm going to get on to that today, because I got tons of things I need to do and then get out of here. But anyway, just wanted to do a quick video on safety and how not to lose your finger. Oh yeah, you always think to yourself, oh, 12 volts. What's 12 volts? Can't be that bad. Well, this battery here is how many amps? I don't know how many amps it is. 80. It's 80 amps. That trailer there is, or that battery there is 80 amps. Then when it was connected, it had this guy here, which that one's got, let's just say at least 80 amps as well for that one. Oh, regardless. Anyway, let's just say 80 amps a piece. So 80, 80, 80. That's, carry the 1 times 2, 240 amps. So in a split second, 240 amps made this ring glowing red and almost took my finger off. So, safety moment. Don't be an idiot. Don't be me. Especially with electricity. Okay, that's it for now. Bye.